In January 2026, Nigeria's security relationship with the United States quietly entered a new phase. In recent weeks, reports have confirmed the arrival of U.S. military advisors and trainers in Nigeria, alongside new deliveries of security equipment and expanded cooperation. This development has raised important questions, not just about counterterrorism, but about how Nigeria's security strategy is evolving. For years, Nigeria has relied primarily on its own forces to confront insurgency, banditry, and regional instability. Now, the presence of foreign military personnel suggests a shift toward deeper international involvement. This is not just about training or equipment. It signals a change in how security challenges are being approached at the highest levels. So the key question we need to examine is this: what does the growing U.S. military role mean for Nigeria's security policy, and what are the long-term implications? In mid-January 2026, the United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, confirmed the arrival of U.S. military personnel in Nigeria. According to official statements, the personnel are part of the U.S. Army Security Assistance Command, deployed under the Security Assistance Training Management Organization, SATMO. Their role, as stated by AFRICOM, is to provide training and advisory support to Nigerian military units at the platoon and company levels. In addition to personnel, the United States confirmed the delivery of military equipment and logistical supplies to Abuja as part of ongoing security cooperation. This deployment follows earlier cooperation between both countries, including intelligence sharing, equipment support, and joint counterterrorism efforts. Separately, in December 2025, the United States confirmed its involvement in coordinated air operations against extremist targets in parts of northern Nigeria, carried out with the approval of the Nigerian government. These developments are part of a broader security partnership framework between Nigeria and the United States. These are the elements that have been officially acknowledged so far. The timing of this development is important. Over the past year, insecurity has continued to spread across different parts of Nigeria, from the northeast to the northwest and parts of the Middle Belt. Despite ongoing military operations, pressure on security forces has remained high. At the same time, instability has been increasing across the wider Sahel region. Changes in security partnerships in neighboring countries have altered the regional balance, drawing greater international attention to Nigeria's role. In late 2025, security cooperation between Nigeria and the United States became more visible, particularly with confirmed joint actions and expanded logistical support. By January 2026, this cooperation had moved from largely behind-the-scenes assistance to on-the-ground advisory support. In security policy, such shifts usually happen when existing approaches are seen as insufficient on their own. This timeline suggests that the current phase of cooperation is not sudden, but the result of gradual escalation in security challenges and strategic recalculations. The real issue here is not simply the presence of foreign military advisors. The deeper issue is capacity and dependence. Nigeria's security challenges have grown more complex over time, stretching manpower, intelligence, and logistics. When external partners become more directly involved, it usually reflects limits in domestic capacity rather than a loss of control. This kind of cooperation can strengthen training, intelligence, and coordination. But it also raises questions about how long such support is needed and what happens if it is reduced or withdrawn. Another part of the issue is decision-making speed. Advisory support often aims to shorten response times and improve operational planning, especially in difficult terrain and multi-threat environments. So this development is less about foreign presence itself, and more about how Nigeria is adjusting its security strategy under pressure. The challenge is ensuring that cooperation leads to long-term self-reliance, not deeper dependence. Several key groups are affected by this shift in security cooperation. First are the Nigerian security forces. Expanded training and advisory support can improve tactical effectiveness, planning, and coordination. At the same time, it places pressure on the military to translate external support into measurable results on the ground. The federal government is also directly affected. Deeper cooperation reflects urgency, but it also increases scrutiny over policy choices, transparency, and long-term strategy. Local communities in affected regions are another important stakeholder. Any improvement in intelligence and response capacity can change security conditions, but only if it leads to sustained protection rather than short-term operations. There is also an impact on regional dynamics. Nigeria's security posture influences neighboring countries, especially in an environment where alliances and partnerships are shifting. Finally, international partners are affected as well. Their involvement ties their credibility to outcomes, making success or failure a shared responsibility. While official statements have focused on training and partnership, several important issues remain unclear. There has been limited public explanation of the duration of this deployment and how success will be measured. Without clear benchmarks, it becomes difficult to assess whether cooperation is achieving its intended goals. There is also little discussion about exit strategy. Security partnerships work best when there is a defined plan for reducing external involvement as local capacity improves. Another unanswered question is oversight and transparency. As cooperation deepens, clarity on roles, rules of engagement, and accountability becomes increasingly important. Finally, there is minimal public conversation about public consent. Major shifts in security posture often require public understanding and trust, especially when foreign involvement is involved. These gaps do not negate the value of cooperation, but they do shape how it will be judged over time. Beyond expectations of improved security, there is also a question of confidence. Many Nigerians have seen past security initiatives announced with strong promises, only for daily life to remain unchanged. Because of this history, people are likely to wait for visible results before forming opinions. For communities affected by insecurity, what matters most is consistency. Short-term gains followed by silence do not restore trust. There is also concern about transparency. Ordinary Nigerians want to understand the purpose, limits, and duration of foreign involvement, even if operational details cannot be shared. In the end, public opinion will not be shaped by official explanations or international statements. It will be shaped by lived experience, safer roads, fewer attacks, and a sense that the state is firmly in control. That is the standard by which this new phase will be judged. As this security cooperation develops, there are specific signs Nigerians should pay close attention to. The first is outcomes on the ground. Any improvement in response time, intelligence-led operations, or protection of vulnerable areas will be the clearest indicator that this partnership is effective. The second is scope. If the role of foreign advisors remains limited to training and support, it suggests a controlled partnership. If it expands beyond that, it signals a deeper shift that deserves closer scrutiny. Another thing to watch is communication. Clear, consistent updates from authorities help prevent rumors and build public trust around sensitive security matters. Finally, Nigerians should observe institutional learning. Are local forces becoming more self-reliant, or is external support becoming more central over time? These signals will show whether this cooperation is strengthening Nigeria's security capacity or creating new dependencies. The growing security cooperation between Nigeria and the United States marks a turning point, but it is not a conclusion. Foreign training and support can strengthen capacity, but they do not replace the need for clear strategy, accountability, and long-term self-reliance. What matters most is not how many advisors arrive or how much funding is committed. It is whether Nigerians feel safer, and whether the country remains firmly in control of its security decisions. As this partnership deepens, one question will remain central. Will this cooperation build lasting local strength, or will it quietly reshape how Nigeria manages its security in the years ahead? That is the question Nigerians will be watching closely.